Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are listening to the Sports Corner on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and we are back. It is the fall semester. This is season 2 of the Sports Corner. I'm your host, Sebastian Stratton. Very momentarily, my co-host, Lorenzo Gonzalez, will be here. A little bit of traffic, but I think that's just because everybody is excited about today. NFL opening night is here. Eagles and Cowboys, which we will preview later. We also have, it's September, you know what that means. The MLB playoff race is heating up, lots to look forward to, tons of teams fighting for their spot in the wild card race. Some teams already have their holdings, such as the Milwaukee Brewers, and then you have others, these low market teams, Cincinnati Reds, Boston Red Sox, not as low market, but for a team that was rebuilding for a large majority of the year, they are right there in contention. But before I get started today, I want to give a quick shout out to my former co-host, Nick Supa, the man, the myth, the legend. Nick, this isn't the same without you, buddy. I walked into the College of Communication and Media today, and as we did together back in January when we first started the show, we would get our notes together, do all our preparation, talk about what we were going to talk about live on the radio. But man, it just isn't the same. I know you will do great things. I can't wait to see you on ESPN one day. And then the best part is I get to tell everybody that I worked with you and we were on that journey together. So best of luck, Nick. I know you'll do great things in all your future endeavors. So, with that being said, let's jump right to it. It's baseball time. The weather is getting cooler. The leaves are starting to fall because it is fall, and let's get to the New York Yankees, one of the more interesting teams, to say the least, for the 2025 season. Lost a heartbreaker yesterday, 8-7 to the Houston Astros, where Aaron Boone and Devin Williams both got ejected. Home runs, Giancarlo Stanton. You saw multiple contributions on offense. But this is a team that right now sitting 3.5 games behind the Blue Jays in the American League East, have the tiebreaker over the Red Sox for second place, and they have that top wild card spot. For those who don't know, a few years ago, the wild card race expanded, so now it's at a point where it used to be the top 3 teams in the division would make it, so the AL East, AL Central, and AL West, and then you would have your 2 wild card teams. Best record could come from either division, wherever. It could be 2 teams from one division. The Yankees were in it back in 2018 where they played the Oakland Athletics, won that game in the wild card. But now it is the top 3 teams, those division winners, they all get a home game. The top 2 seeds get a first round bye. The 3 seed plays the 6 seed, and the 4 seed plays the 5 seed. And the biggest thing about having that top wild card spot, such as the Yankees right now having that 4 seed, is if you are the 4 seed, you are guaranteed that home playoff series. It's a 3-game series, wild card, so it's not single elimination like it used to be, which is very important because I'd rather go to the Bronx in front of your fans and play a 3-game series than have to travel out to Massachusetts and play the Red Sox in their home venue in Fenway Park. It makes things very difficult when it comes to the pitch comm. We've seen difficulties with that, pitcher-catcher communication. So having that home advantage is very, very critical. But for the Yankees in general, let's start with the lineup. So this is a lineup that I was watching something yesterday on MLB Network where if the Yankees hit 2 or more home runs in a game, they win 80% of their games. So the stats go to show you when the Yankees hit the long ball, they win. Now, when you talk about their playoff success, how has that fared? Obviously not well under Aaron Boone because they haven't won a World Series. They went to one, but then the Dodgers basically manhandled them in a best-of-7 series where the Yankees only took 1 game where they were already down 3-0 in the series. They salvaged one, Anthony Volpe. We all remember that grand slam. He's another story that we have to talk about. But they struggled. In the playoffs, you have to be able to have situational hitting. And that's what a lot of these teams, not including the Yankees, we've seen the Yankees do it more lately as it pertains to stealing bases and bunting. But when second and third and nobody out, such as yesterday, Anthony Volpe steps up to the plate. You cannot strike out. Volpe is a guy, the New Jersey native, drafted in the first round, 30th overall pick in the 2019 MLB draft, who has had a lot of ups and downs when it comes to Major League Baseball. And Derek Jeter said it best. He also said, the MLB has tons of ups and downs for a player, for a team. It's 162 games. The best teams of all time have lost 45 or more games. You are going to lose. You are going to struggle. But he said one thing that cannot struggle is your defense. And that is what has plagued Anthony Volpe. Leads the MLB in errors with 18 and just hasn't been able to flash that gold glove that he showcased in his rookie year, 2023. And now he's at a spot where he's fluctuating in the lineup. We've seen him bat 6th. We've seen him bat 9th. He needs to be batting 9th. And he is a guy, he does not need to hit home runs. You have Aaron Judge. You have Cody Bellinger, Giancarlo Stanton, Jazz Chisholm Jr. Let them do the home run hitting. Volpe as the 9 hitter, everybody thinks that's a criticism. But the 9 spot in a baseball lineup, especially in Major League Baseball, is one of the most important spots in the lineup. He is the guy that needs to set the table for the top of the lineup. Trent Grisham, if you walked into this radio station back in March and you told me, hey, what do you think of the New York Yankees this season? I would tell you, I think they should be good. I know they lost Juan Soto, but they have tons of returning players. They got Cody Bellinger. They got Paul Goldschmidt. And then maybe you would ask, well, what about Trent Grisham? He's a Gold Glover, spent those years with San Diego. He's only 28 years old. And I would respond with, I don't see him playing much, maybe on an off day when Jason Dominguez needs a rest. But I had the starting outfield. It would have been Jason Dominguez in left field, Cody Bellinger in center, and then Aaron Judge in right. And Grisham has just not been able to hit offensively for a large portion of the season. But man, talk about someone in a contract year entering free agency this winter. He has just stepped up in such a big way, hitting .245 on the season, 29 home runs, and 122 games played. He has been fantastic. He's your prototypical leadoff hitter, but he's not. It's weird because he hits home runs, he drives the ball gap to gap, but he also works the count, takes his walks, and is just so great. My dad would compare him to Reggie Jackson, and I see it. The way he swings, he's so nonchalant about the way he goes about his business, and some may think that's a bad thing, but for Trent Grisham, he is just able to perform day in and day out. And when people would ask me in the past, especially as a little kid, oh, who's your favorite MLB player? I don't know if I really had an answer. I guess I would primarily go with Mike Trout. He's the New Jersey native, went to high school in New Jersey, and for the past few years I would say Aaron Judge. I guess that's the plain answer, that's the boring answer. But I think it is Trent Grisham now. He is just so fun to watch, the way he plays the game of baseball. Gold Glove defense, you can't get rid of that. And now the Yankees have a decision to make this upcoming offseason. What do you do with Trent Grisham? Jason Dominguez is only 22 years old. He is waiting in the wings. I don't know. Obviously, you have to focus on winning, but I know that he's not a fan of not playing every day, but he has no choice. Aaron Boone has to make a decision. You have to win. They are in win-now mode. And unfortunately, there is no spot for Jason Dominguez to be playing every day. He cannot do it. But for the lineup as a whole, I found something very interesting the other day. So the Yankees guaranteed if they collapse, well, first of all, if they collapse, Aaron Boone should be fired on the spot. I'll drive him back to his house. Goodbye. But all being said, the Yankees should make the 2025 playoffs. And if they do, whether that's as a wild card winner or a division winner, the projected top 9 players in the starting lineup all have a chance to have hit 20-plus home runs in the regular season, which will be the first time that has ever been done in Major League Baseball history. Let's go through it if you're like, oh, he's lying. No, I'm not. This is a lineup that has been the strong suit for the New York Yankees. Trent Grisham, he has over 20 home runs. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm Jr., who has been on a power surge lately. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Giancarlo Stanton, whether or not he bats 4th or 5th in the lineup come playoff time, he is at 18 home runs. he is 2 away. Ben Rice is over 20 home runs. Austin Wells, who they have projected now, I don't think he is the starting catcher come playoff time, only because there's no spot for Ben Rice at that point. And Ben Rice's bat has just been so good. You can really fluctuate him throughout the lineup. He can bat towards the top, middle, and the bottom. So I don't think Austin Wells is part of that lineup. But Anthony Volpe, he is at 19 home runs. He is 1 away. And then third baseman Ryan McMahon acquired this trade deadline from the Colorado Rockies. He is at 18 home runs. So barring any injuries, all 9 players in the Yankee lineup should get to 20 home runs. And that would be the first time, as I said, in Major League Baseball history that has ever happened before. And that's crazy. The lineup is so good, yet it's a team that has struggled, but they are right in the thick of it. Aaron Boone's famous line is, "It's right in front of us." Yes, this time it is true. Your path to victory and a potential World Series title is right in front of you. But they have to piece it together, and it all starts with that starting lineup. But then the bullpen. The New York Yankees bullpen has been interesting to say the least. We know the new pieces acquired at the 2025 trade deadline by general manager Brian Cashman. They include closer David Bednar from the Pittsburgh Pirates, relief pitcher Camilo Doval from the San Francisco Giants, Fernando Cruz, who was not traded. He's been on the Yankees since this season, 35 years of age, but he's still great, has great energy, throws that splitter combined with that upper 90s fastball. It throws hitters off. So he has just returned. Mark Leiter Jr. has been a staple in the bullpen. And then Paul Blackburn, Yankees get him from the Mets. Ryan Yarbrough comes off the injured list. He moves to the bullpen after previously starting for most of the season. And then Luke Weaver and then Devin Williams, acquired from the Brewers in a trade last winter, December of 2024. And Tim Hill, of course, crafty lefty. And Devin Williams has been very, very interesting. And when I was writing out some of my notes for today's show, Devin Williams was going to be a hot topic in a positive way. He didn't allow any runs in his last 7 starts. He was striking tons of batters out. But here's the thing that has plagued Devin Williams. Fastball command. When he does not command that fastball, all these hitters, they are sitting on his changeup and they are driving it with poise and precision to all the gaps. We saw it yesterday. Devin Williams comes in a tie game, 4-4, bottom of the 8th inning. He walks 3 hitters and blows the lead, and he got ejected afterwards. He had some choice words for umpire Brian Walsh. So I guess at that point it doesn't matter if you get ejected once you're already out of the game. But Devin Williams, he just doesn't seem as if he has tons of confidence on the mound. He's not pitching with conviction. He's not getting ahead with the strike zone. And when you get ahead in the strike zone, whether that's with the fastball, if you want to paint that on the outside corner, inside corner, or use that changeup, that airbender pitch to get ahead. Once you get behind in the count, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, these are premier hitters' counts. And all these hitters are doing are waiting on that changeup. If you throw a fastball 2-0, all right, good pitch, I'll take that. But Devin Williams is continuously working himself out of big situations. And it's worked in the past. It worked a few days ago when they played the Tampa Bay Rays up at George Steinbrenner Field, which is the home for the Rays for this season. Leadoff double, base hit, second and third no outs. He struck out 3 in a row. That's fantastic and all, but that's against the Tampa Bay Rays, who are safe to say not a good team this season. You have to be able to do it against these good teams. The Yankees have this upcoming stretch. 3 games against Houston. Their season finale is tonight. And then you have to go home, no off day. You start a new series versus Toronto in the Bronx, which will basically decide the division. You have a weekend series versus the Blue Jays. Then you have a day off. And then you have to go to the Detroit Tigers, who have the second best record in Major League Baseball, the best record in the American League. And then you have a home game. Then you have a home series. Oh, excuse me, not a home series. You have to go to Boston and play the Boston Red Sox. So this is a team, they need to get that bullpen settled. They have the pieces, they have everything. But the New York Yankees, they have to put it together, and it is right in front of them. But we are going to take a quick break on the Sports Corner because I do see him outside. My co-host is here, Lorenzo Gonzalez. So stay tuned. And when we get back, we will discuss more things sports because it is that time of year and there is a lot to talk about. So don't go away just yet. We are back here on the Sports Corner. You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. And he is here, Lorenzo Gonzalez, the co-host for the semester, the man, the myth, the legend. Mr. Gonzalez, I know there was a little bit of traffic today, but hey, we made it in studio. Still have time to talk sports. How are you doing today, my friend?
More like a lot of traffic, but it is an honor to be here on the Sports Corner, Sebastian. My very first episode with the man right here. I'm glad to be here, folks. Glad to be here for the rest of the semester, hopefully next semester as well. Just very excited to be here. I've been a fan of sports my whole life. Big football fan, Steelers fan since I was 5 years old, my friend, just like you and Nick. And a shout-out to Nick Supa, who couldn't be on the show coming forward, unfortunately. But me and Sebastian are going to have an amazing time on this run. And, it's going to be an incredible thing.
I'm very excited. As you know, when I put together our show slots for the semester, all I wanted was to be on this show with you because obviously last semester it didn't work out. But here we are. It has worked out, and we are here. So it's time to talk sports. Let's jump right back to it. I did a little bit of our Yankees talk. So the New York Yankees have to finish up. They have their last game tonight versus the Houston Astros. It's the series clinching win. Yankees won the first game, Astros won the second game, and now this is the rubber match, as they call it in baseball. So whoever takes this game will win the season series, and that's about it. But now, I know we can't take the A train because we're not going to Queens, so we can take whatever subway line that we have to take to get up to Boston, Massachusetts, and Fenway Park, because those gritty Boston Red Sox, they have performed. You trade Rafael Devers at the MLB trade deadline. It doesn't look great. Last World Series win, they've had success recently. You win your 2 World Series, 2018, 2013. But this is a team that they weren't expected to do much. You had the class of the class in the American League East. You have the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and the Orioles. And obviously, the Orioles have underperformed mightily this season. But then the Red Sox, Roman Anthony gets called up, emerges on the scene, 21-year-old rookie. Unfortunately, though, yesterday, hurt his oblique. Reports say he's going to be out for the next 4 to 5 weeks. So that is very unfortunate. But the Red Sox, 78-63 on the season. And one player I want to highlight in particular that has led to a lot of their success is Aroldis Chapman, who at 37 years of age has been the best reliever in Major League Baseball, posting a 1 ERA with 77 strikeouts and only 14 walks allowed, with that fastball getting up to the triple digits at 102 miles per hour. He debuted with the Reds in 2010, so this is his 16th big league season, made his debut at 21 years of age, and he has only allowed 6 earned runs in 54 innings pitched, which is basically unheard of. I mean, Lorenzo, when I played Little League Baseball high school, you had players that threw fast, but I don't know if I was getting up to at bat nervous. Lorenzo, what do you make of this success for Chapman this year?
I think it's a shame that the Yankees and the Pirates let him go. I mean, he's been a journeyman. He's been a true journeyman in this sport. And at 37 years of age, really in baseball to me, a pitcher can go all the way up to his 50s if he wanted to. A true class pitcher. But Chapman's been on a streak right now. It's truly unbelievable what he's doing for the Red Sox. I'm pretty upset that we got rid of him. He was pretty good with us, but the Pirates are a team that really needs a lot of help on pitching as much as they can get, even with Skeens and as many other guys you can name in there. But I think this is great for the Red Sox. They're a team that has had a rough couple years. They've been either 4th, 3rd, 5th, and their tradition, it hasn't been too well going this decade so far. But Chapman's been in limelight, I think that this could be a place where he can certainly have the rest of his career if they give him a nice contract, especially after the numbers you gave me. A 1 ERA is completely unheard of. I'll say this. If you're at the top of the 9th inning, bottom of the 8th, I would be afraid if I'm one of the last batters against him in a game. And and on top of that, the Red Sox have had a great last couple games. They had that great streak against the Yankees, dominated the Orioles. This is looking to be a turn. At least they did have that rough game against the the Guardians now, Cleveland Guardians, 8-1. But the Red Sox, but overall they still won that series. They were two games to one. I really think the Red Sox can turn around and potentially get to the Yankees. They're right there. They're only like a game behind, about not even like half a game.
They're basically tied. I know I have it right here. The Yankees, after their loss yesterday, they both lost yesterday. The Red Sox have one more win with the Yankees at 78. Yankees have 77. Red Sox have 63 losses. The Yankees have 62. So when it comes to tiebreakers and then one team having one win, one loss, or the other, it's the team that has fewer losses. So the Yankees have that holding in the division race. But Lorenzo, you mentioned journeyman for Aroldis Chapman. He has been on a plethora of teams throughout his major league career. Cincinnati Reds, Kansas City Royals, Texas Rangers, just to name a few. But you mentioned how this could be home for Aroldis Chapman, and you have pitchers pitching in their 50s. A lot of people forget Jamie Moyer, who was a journeyman throughout his Major League Baseball career, pitched for 25 seasons, and then when he made his last start in his career in 2012 with the Colorado Rockies, he was 49 years old. And this was at a time where Moyer, obviously, his physical attributes were declining a little bit, that fastball velocity, but he was a true art of pitching. He knew how to locate that fastball, changeup, slider mix, and he was a guy that could just get hitters out. Pitch to contact. It's kind of a name that isn't mentioned a lot in Major League Baseball. And Lorenzo, you also mentioned how obviously this could be home for Chapman. It will be home. He recently, I think it was a few days ago, signed an extension with the Red Sox for the 2026 season with a club option for 2027. 1-year deal worth $13 million, and this is just pure dominance. How can't you? Once the ninth inning hits and the Yankees have had their struggles, Clay Holmes becomes the closer for a little bit, goes to the Mets. David Bednar has been good, but they haven't had a true closer since Mariano Rivera. And I relate Aroldis Chapman's success to Emmanuel Clase of last season. That's what I compare it to. Pitcher for the Guardians, had a 0.62 ERA through a 103 mile per hour cutter. I don't know how you are hitting that, but he was dominant. Obviously, he struggled a little bit this season, is on leave due to some gambling problems in Major League Baseball, so he's not
Chapman?
pitching. No, Emmanuel Clase.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah. I know.
Wow.
Chapman, I think well, that was actually a good point. He might have, Chapman, I don't know if it was gambling issues with Chapman. I know it was a few years ago, maybe 2022, where Chapman didn't pitch for the Yankees in the playoffs. There was a big debacle with him and Brian Cashman. Just something wasn't working out, contract. So ultimately, Chapman went back home. He's from Cuba, so he went back to Cuba and kind of called it wraps. But that's the story there. Lorenzo, before we get into our football talk, do you have any last thoughts on the Red Sox, Pirates, Yankees, or just baseball in general?
Yeah, I know I was a little bit late to this to the baseball talk of the show with Sebastian, but man, I can't even sit down and watch the Pirates now. It has been, they're one of those teams that just they haven't found any, and I think they're one of the only teams that really hasn't found any success in the recent years. And hey, as long as they have Bob Nutton, nothing's really going to change. But in terms of the Chapman situation, which I was able to pop in for the time being, this is an amazing guy that you want. I didn't even know about those stats, honestly, with Chapman. And I see a future with them, with the Red Sox. I really do. And if the Red Sox play their cards right, they pay the guy the right money, they let him close in the right games, I feel like they can definitely be a threat, especially, potentially, going into this playoff season.
The Red Sox have nothing to lose. Young team.
And they don't have too much expectations.
No, not at all.
Season, no.
And then you have the Yankees. You trade Juan Soto. All right, the expectations go down a little bit. But a few days later, you sign Cody Bellinger, sign Paul Goldschmidt.
Oh, amazing.
So the Yankees are a team.
Deal.
They have expectations, haven't fully lived up to them because they are second in the division behind a team that has half the payroll of them in the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Yankees have that luxury of spending money. but obviously they haven't been able to capitalize with in its entirety. So very interesting there. The playoff race in Major League Baseball is heating up a ton. And I just got that itch, Lorenzo, because it is that time of year. Do you know what today is?
Today is the first game of the 2025 NFL season. Week 1 starts today on Thursday Night Football. On Prime, correct?
I think Prime starts week 2. I think tonight is on NBC. I think it's a double broadcast for NBC. NBC with Mike Tirico. I think they get tonight's game, and then they also get the Sunday night game with the Ravens and the Bills.
Well, Sebastian, speaking of that as well, the first game of the season is the Eagles and the Cowboys. A brutal rivalry. Absolutely brutal rivalry from both sides in the NFC East.
You talk about the top rivalries in football. The top ones come up. Packers-Bears. Cowboys-Eagles. You even have Cowboys-Giants.
Cowboys-Packers.
Cowboys-Packers, yes. Steelers-Ravens. Lorenzo, I know. Do you hate the Ravens as much as I do or no?
I absolutely do. But you really got to give a nod and a respect to how much of a winning culture that they have carved out since 2000.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you talk about John Harbaugh. He won a Super Bowl. He got it versus the 49ers in the 2012 season. So he's a winner. John Harbaugh's always a winner. They drafted Lamar Jackson in the 2018 NFL draft, have made the playoffs every year since then, and he's a weapon. Anytime you have a franchise quarterback of that caliber, you are expected to win. You are expected to get the pieces around him to win. So the Ravens are a winning team. They win a lot, but hopefully our Steelers can do the same. Are you feeling good about them this year?
Oh, I'm feeling incredible about them. I think that this is going to be a learning season in my eyes, and we'll get to it later on the coaches as well, as we were talking about days prior to this show. Who has the most pressure as a coach going on into the season? And Mike Tomlin is certainly up there in the top 3 spot, I'd say, especially for this season, because man, we do not want another 10-7 season, don't we, Sebastian? And a missed wild card playoff round. That is the one thing that we are all afraid of going into the season. But I do feel like you can call us America. You can call us crazy. Montclair, New Jersey. You can call us crazy, but me and Sebastian do have faith that the Steelers can be a number 1 team in the AFC North.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. You go out there and get veteran Aaron Rodgers, he doesn't say it to the media and out loud, but he has to be playing with some kind of chip on his shoulder.
100%.
You have basically a horrible tenure with the Jets, a 2-year tenure, and then he wanted to re-sign. He wanted year 3. After you tear that Achilles, so the whole thing was, all right, I'm going to go meet Woody Johnson, owner of the Jets, out in California. So Rodgers flies there, meets with him, and then new head coach now, Aaron Glenn. And they basically tell him 5 minutes into the meeting, hey, we're going in a different direction. And Rodgers was understandably very upset. How about you just give him a phone call and tell him that? Why do you have to make him fly across the country when you can just give him a phone call? I don't get it, Lorenzo.
It's hilarious. It's like they wanted to stick it to him. And speaking of a chip on his shoulder with Rodgers, it's so funny how you go 3 years ago with the Packers, nobody was saying anything about him being an old man, being rusty, being out of it. He's past his prime until after his tenure with the Jets, because now he's going to the Steelers. I'm telling you, Sebastian, I think these days people just love to hate on the Steelers.
Oh, 100%. They say it in baseball, they don't boo nobodies. They don't hate on nobody teams. Nobody hates the Titans.
Yeah.
Titans, they're not the Steelers.
Nothing to hate about them. Nobody hates the Panthers.
People hate the Eagles because they win. They have been winning consistently. Got their first Super Bowl in 2018 under new owner Jeffrey Lurie, and then great general manager Howie Roseman. They get their second one last season, the defending champs. But we talk about opening night, Lorenzo. We talk about Cowboys-Eagles. The Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones did something this past week.
Oh, what? I know exactly.
Lorenzo, take it away.
I'll take it away.
What did he do this week?
Oh, boy. You know what? I didn't think it could get this bad to start things off. But, guys, it has. Football fans, it has. Everybody knows it now. Micah Parsons is going to Lambeau Field in the cold. He's going from the hot down south to the cold up north to Lambeau Field to play for the Packers. And not only that, Sebastian, hold on a minute. He's wearing number 1. He's got a new number. And now he's the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL today. I really can't believe it. And for the chips they got a 3. They did get now. This is a lot of terrible move that happened. We all know that. I know you're going to say it. I'm going to say it. We all know that. Everybody, even the most diehard Cowboys fan can admit it. However, they did get, it's not the best. It's definitely not the best problem to solve it. They got Kenny Clark from the Packers, 3-time Pro Bowler, played with the team since like 2019, 2020, around there. He has been a dedicated defensive tackle. But the problem with that is it sounds great until you find out who Parsons is. To an outside fan, you find out who Parsons is. This is the greatest guy that they have on the team. Best player on the team, bar none. And it's kind of like if the Giants lost Michael Strahan and he got traded to the Cowboys. It's like the same kind of deal. Because these two teams hate each other. This is one of the most historic rivalries in football, dating back to the 66 NFL championship to 2023 in the playoffs when Dak got embarrassed in front of the national audience. It has been pure hatred with the Packers and Cowboys. And before I get into my spiel about it, would you like to go on your thoughts with this whole trade with Parsons?
Well, first of all, I have to give credit to David Mulligetta, Parsons' agent. Not just Micah Parsons' agent, but he manages tons of NFL players throughout the league. George Pickens, who he helped get to Dallas. As we know, George Pickens was a Pittsburgh Steeler last season. He gets traded. But Micah Parsons said it. He always wanted to be a Cowboy. He grew up in the Texas area. And now it's just, wow, I did not think Jerry Jones would do it. He was the first one. He came in. Micah talked to him. He said, all right, here's the deal. We'll work with you, but worst comes to worst, you either play on that 5th-year deal, which is your expiring rookie contract, or goodbye. And he chose the goodbye. And the full deal, 4 years, $188 million, $136 million guaranteed. Ooh. As you said, highest non-paid quarterback in NFL history at $47 million per year, which was just broken a few weeks ago when T.J. Watt signed a new deal at $41 million. Then the year before, Jamar Chase at $40 million. Lorenzo, I don't know, it might happen during this show. I'll make you the Adam Schefter, the NFL insider of the show. It can be moments now where someone hits the $50 million mark. It's bound to happen.
It's bound to happen in like 10 minutes or an hour from now. You never know. That's the crazy thing about nowadays in football. There is no contract that is the highest paid anymore. That's like a standard set. It's always an ever-changing thing. And how long does it stay for? Like a month? 2 months in the offseason? That's it? And it's pretty crazy that this is the craziest thing in the offseason to me. I don't think this is the equivalent of Saquon to the Eagles. Just next season. This is like part 2 of the craziest things that are happening in football. The year before was the Jets, but this with Aaron Rodgers. But this is beyond wild. The past 2 years, we have 2 star players in the NFC East that got traded away from the NFC East. Insane, right? Now, first of all, I do want to say, I think Jerry's absolutely clueless. I don't think he realizes. I think he's that senile. I don't think he realizes that he traded away Micah Parsons. Because in the interviews, he called him Michael. I don't know if you caught that.
I saw that.
Him Mike. Yeah, he called him Michael. Which Michael are we talking about?
I know. How do you...
Michael Irvin? He's been gone.
The guy's name is Micah. Micah, with an H at the end, not Michael. And now the Cowboys are in a situation. They had all this momentum going into the season. They trade for George Pickens. You surround Dak Prescott with some weapons now. You have CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams as your starting running back, had a stint in Denver and Carolina. You draft Jaden Blue, the premier rookie who could get some touches in the pass game. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, wide receiver 3 at Jalen Tolbert, and then your tight end Jake Ferguson, who has been a red zone threat for many years now, and now it just feels as if all that momentum is going away, and it's not that you can just turn around and say, all right, season's over. No, you have a game to play tonight, less than 12 hours from this point, and that leads into that. Opening night, it's the Cowboys, it's the Eagles, it's an NFC East clash on Thursday Night Football, NBC, and it is go time. Lorenzo, what do you make of this matchup? You have the Super Bowl defending champs at their home venue. They don't lose a lot. They have their remaining pieces. The biggest loss was right guard Mekhi Becton, who they lose to free agency to the Los Angeles Chargers. But man, that offensive line is just a factory. All they do is produce great offensive linemen. Last year at the Super Bowl, they had the tallest and the heaviest offensive line in NFL history. Not saying that was the sole reason why they were the best, but they just do a great job, and it starts top to bottom. General Manager Howie Roseman, head coach Nick Sirianni, offensive coordinator last year Kellen Moore, who is now with the New Orleans Saints, but the Eagles have a lot of momentum, and they are hungry for more. Lorenzo, what do you make of this matchup tonight?
Two words. One-sided. One-sided heavily. I wanted to get back to that point with Micah, but I'll bring this up since we're talking about the game. The Eagles are, like you said, they're coming off as Super Bowl champs. And the Cowboys have just come off probably one of the worst trades in their franchise history that could very well come back to bite them. Maybe not. Maybe he will bust in Green Bay. However, right now, that is a terrible loss, especially since, like I mentioned before, he's the greatest player on the team. There's no question about it to me. In terms of going into this game, the Cowboys' offense, though, they might put up a good fight, but I just can't see that defense doing too much. And honestly, coming into this game, you're playing against a team that the Eagles lost a lot of pieces on defense, yes. Many guys you can go over, but the Eagles still have a core that even though they lost all those guys, they can still make up for it and go to a championship game. They're still favored to go to a championship game this year. I don't think it's going to be too much of a contest. I personally think that the Cowboys just screwed this game up. They put themselves in a bigger hole than they needed to. And now with Philly being the defending champs, they have to keep a mentality. They have to keep a mentality going into this game and just keep their heads up as much as they can with the players, with the pieces that they have. Also, I wanted to touch point on Dallas has a new head coach. We didn't even mention it yet. Brian Schottenheimer, the son. And that name sounds familiar to many big football fans, as many of you know out there may know. The legendary Marty Schottenheimer, one of the winningest coaches in NFL history, maybe the winningest to never make it to a Super Bowl. And now you have his son. This is his first game going into it. Here's a different storyline. His first game going in as a head coach ever in any time in professional football. I don't have much faith in him, and it's because he is a rookie head coach, and he's always been an offensive coordinator kind of guy. He's always been surrounded as an offensive-led coach. And I just look in the past 20 years at guys who have been offensive coordinators shifting to head coach. I don't like it, Sebastian. I don't like the history of it too much. I mean, let's just go off some names here. Josh McDaniels most recently with the Raiders.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, gee. Yeah, exactly. Adam Gase with the Jets. Chip Kelly with the Eagles. Remember the dream team that they were supposed to have? Wah, wah, wah.
Do you remember?
And Hugh Jackson with the Cleveland Browns. All those guys, by the way, offensive and defensive coordinator guys, their first year going into an NFL team as a head coach, terrible. Absolutely terrible. I don't have much faith that this is going to change here, and I'm not a big fan of that kind of offensive coordinator going in as head coaches. It just And even if they never had the experience as like an assistant coach or something of a higher status, that is what Brian Schottenheimer has not had. He's only been a scout, or he's been an offensive-minded or quarterback's coach. He has not been in a position where he has led a whole team on three sides of the ball, kicking, defense, and offense. And that's where I think the Cowboys' doom is going to be this season. Even though he has had a decent offense with this team, I just don't see him as the future for the Cowboys.
Here's my issue with the hire. It's not that, because as you said, there have been some people, and it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Some people are just suited to be coordinators. Offensive, right. Defensive, just do your job. I think Mike McDaniel is one of them. I think that his time with the Miami Dolphins is quickly deteriorating. He's a guy, he hasn't had a control of the locker room. Deshaun 100%. Elliott, former Miami Dolphin, comes to Pittsburgh, basically says, how would you compare the team culture from Miami to Pittsburgh? And he would say, can't say this word on the air, but he basically said, in short, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. And Brian Schottenheimer, my issue isn't being a coordinator. I think that some coordinators can make great head coaches. Mike Tomlin, people forget he was the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings.
And the Tampa Bay Bucks
and
in
the Tampa Bay Bucks
Super Bowl year.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he was the defensive coordinator. Mike Tomlin gets hired at the start of the 2008 NFL season. 2007 season, yes.
Sir.
And the rest is history. Hasn't had a losing season, which is kind of controversial, but he won a Super Bowl. At that point, when he won it, he was the youngest head coach in NFL history to do so. However, that was broken by Sean McVay when he did win one with the Rams. But the issue with Schottenheimer is he was the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys last season, but he didn't even call the plays. Head coach Mike McCarthy did. All these other guys, Kyle Shanahan, he was an offensive coordinator who called the plays. Brian Flores, I know his stint, he's another one. His stint with the Miami Dolphins as a head coach didn't work out. Yeah. But what does he do? He goes back to his role as a defensive coordinator with the Minnesota Vikings, and the Minnesota Vikings have one of the best defenses in the National Football League. So, point proven is some people are better suited as coordinators. I agree with you when it comes to this being a blowout. I think the Eagles are going to run all over the Cowboys. Maybe they catch some steam early. But if the Cowboys are going to have a chance, George Pickens needs to step up in a big way. I'd assume CeeDee Lamb is going to be shadowed by Cooper DeJean most of the night. Top cornerback, also playing a little bit of safety this year. So
and
it's
going in a perfect situation, too. He's coming off a Super Bowl. He had the whole party going on this whole couple months.
How perfect was that night? Pick 6, birthday, turned 22 years old. It was just so awesome. So I agree with the Eagles and the Cowboys. Opening night is tonight. But with the rest of that, you have tomorrow night. Chargers play the Chiefs. I believe that game is on Amazon Prime.
That's on YouTube TV.
Is it? That
YouTube
game,
TV.
That game is in Brazil, too.
Yeah.
That's the Brazil game. But Lorenzo, right. I want to put out this question to you, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on it. And we'll start with the head coach. And what I want to ask is, which head coach do you think is under the most pressure this season to either help his team perform, and if he doesn't, basically there's a chance of him getting fired? What do you think?
Oh, this is a tough question. I really thought this question through coming into this show today, the debut show of the Sports Corner. There's a lot of guys you can point to. You have a whole different list than I do, but there's two guys in general. One guy is a guy actually you mentioned, and I actually want to bring him up since you just mentioned him, Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, I think, holds that spot at probably number 1 this season out of everybody. And I think it's because, let's not get this wrong here, he is an amazing offensive mind. We just touched base on offense earlier with the coordinators. He is incredible as an offensive coach, and his schemes they're just phenomenal. He knows what he's doing on offense. But the problem is, just like you mentioned earlier, that's going to ruin this whole season. It ruined it last year for them and the season. Well, this last season specifically in 24, the locker room. McDaniel is not good enough when it comes to, I feel like, having a collaboration with his players. His players, when you have Tyreek Hill, that's only the beginning of it. You have guys that have a super ego on this team that I just see with the Dolphins, they don't want to really play together. There's too much glory for me personally. And that's the problem with the team. And McDaniel, now remember in 23, do you remember in 2023 when this team was supposed to be a Super Bowl champion? They were destined as Super Bowl picks. Now we're going into this. They're a bottom team in the league. They made some terrible, terrible moves. They were trying to get Darren Waller. Darren Waller, the tight end from the Giants from 5 years ago, to get on their team. They got rid of Jalen Ramsey. They got rid of a ton of other guys. This McDaniel is by far under the most scrutiny to me. And the fact that he hasn't, this is going to be his proven year. He has to address these problems pronto in this season. And the Dolphin fans are not going to take lightly to it. They have now, as far as I know, Sebastian, they are right now at the highest streak for the last time a team won a playoff game, which was in 2000. McDaniel is the one guy that has a chance to change this culture, and this is his opportunity right here. I think this season he has to buckle up, get this team together, have a long conversation with this team. Maybe go back to the Don Shula days of the 70s when they used to do practices without water in the sun for hours to get this winning tradition back in style, because it's clear the Dolphins haven't had that winning tradition since Shula.
The Miami Dolphins, and I think you mentioned the 23 season. That was the year where they traded for Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle, Tua Tagovailoa. You have the weapons, and then everything just falls apart. And I think some of the blame obviously goes to Mike McDaniel, but a lot of it also goes to general manager Chris Grier. He's the one who puts this roster together. You mentioned Darren Waller. They ended up signing him, and then you trade away Jonnu Smith, who is one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the NFL. You trade away Jalen Ramsey, who people like to call washed. But no, he was another one. He did not agree with the culture and how things were being ran in Miami. He did not agree with it. So he was another one that got dealt. So you can't really blame these players. They want to play in a winning culture, and they want to compete for a Super Bowl every season. But my take on who needs to step up, it's Mike Tomlin. I love Mike Tomlin. I've been a big believer of Mike Tomlin for a long time. Winning season, he always wins. He had that one season where his two starting quarterbacks were Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges. Now, nothing against Mason Rudolph, but that was a team that he led them to a winning season where most head coaches would barely win 4 games.
Yeah.
And the issue with Tomlin, they get to the playoffs, give up 30-plus points, which has been the story for the last 5 playoff games. First round exit, rinse, and repeat. Do the same thing. Now you have Aaron Rodgers. You trade for DK Metcalf, which is unheard of with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rarely do the Steelers ever go out there and give a wide receiver one a big contract like that.
Yeah.
They like to. You have Antonio Brown. He gets a contract, but he went all nuts. Deontay Johnson, his contract expires. Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster. Those are all names to talk about. So it's very interesting what Mike Tomlin can do. He cannot go 9-8. I'd rather him go 5-12, rebuild, get a high draft pick, and draft your franchise quarterback than go 9-8 once again. But, Lorenzo, as we have a little bit of time left, about 30 seconds, any last thoughts before we close up here?
Yeah, one more guy I want to mention real quick. Zach Taylor, the Cincinnati Bengals. Man, I'm going to tell you what, Sebastian. That guy has not done almost anything for the team whatsoever. He was my number 2. I think the Bengals... And speaking of 9-8, I want to end the show off with this. Steelers have only had one season when they're 9-8. Let's stop calling us 9-8. And what about the Bengals, who've had 2 seasons as 9-8? But we're the ones that are called 9-8. I'm just going to end it off with that. Sebastian?
It's just a famous joke. 1 game over 500. When the Steelers actually... They started the COVID year 2020, 12-0. They go 10-7, but they win. So we will see very interesting Major League Baseball, National Football League. But that is going to do it here on the Sports Corner on 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. And tune in next week, same time, same place, as me and Lorenzo will be discussing our Week 1 takes, and more of Major League Baseball because it is here. Have a great day, everyone.